Hey guys, welcome to my 20-minute flow. I have been trying to figure out a good placement for my camera so then you can see me. Hopefully this works. And this is my 5th attempt, so fingers crossed. Before we get started, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Madeline. I will be, again, like I said, leading you in the next 20 minutes of easy, gentle flow. Just as a little reminder, this is yoga practice. We're here to practice, not to perfect. We always need to pay close attention and be mindful of our bodies today, not what they were yesterday or what they were 20 years ago versus what they could be tomorrow. So if there's any aches or pains that you're feeling, any kind of uncomfort, to really honor that and acknowledge it and be mindful of it. I will try to cue any modifications that might be useful. Again, this is your practice, so make it your own. I'm just here to guide you. So on that note, let's all start on a nice, comfortable seat on our mats. That can look like your legs crossed, perhaps if you want to sit on your knees like I was just a minute ago. Placing your hands on your knees, your palms facing down or up. I personally like to put one hand over my heart and one hand over my belly. And I want to take this time to maybe close your eyes or find a drishti point that you can focus on and really starting to bring awareness into our practice today, into our bodies, onto our mats. I invite you to perhaps set an intention, and that can look like anything you want, whether that's a person, a thing, an object, a color. Lately has been what I've loved to do, is really focus on a color and what that color gives to me energy-wise. But just closing our eyes, bringing that awareness to our mats. And as a group, let's take some inhales and exhales together collectively. I'm going to inhale through our nose. Sigh it out. Let's do that again. Inhale through your nose. Sigh it out. Let's take one more inhale through our nose. But with our exhale, let's close our mouth and start utilizing our Ujjayi breath, which is the constriction of the back of your throat, making a ocean-like noise, or perhaps a noise that mimics you fogging up a mirror. And just settling into our Ujjayi breath, settling into our practice today. Perhaps any sort of stresses, anxieties, anything that's just not serving you today, maybe letting that go. It's one of the greatest gifts that we can do for ourselves is letting go of things that do not serve us. Take one more inhale together. Exhale back out through your nose. And when you're ready, meet me in a tabletop position. We're going to have our hands beneath our shoulders. Our knees are beneath our hips. Our spine is straight. Our core is engaged. We knit the ribs in. And on our next inhale, drop the belly. Look up into cow pose. Now with this cow pose, we want to make sure that our belly and our ribs are still knitted in to protect our lower back. And on our next exhale, let's round the spine, pushing the earth away into cat pose. Really exhaling all the air from our lungs and engaging our ribs, and again, sucking in that in our core to protect our back and to feel that stretch throughout our entire back. And on our next inhale, let's lift our pelvis up, our gaze is up, or drop our bellies, look up into cow pose. Let's exhale, round your spine, knit your ribs, push the earth away, cat. And in the next 3 rounds of cat-cow, make them your own. That could be wiggling your hips, wagging your tail, doing neck rolls. Sometimes I like to get into cat pose and kind of pushing back into an active child's pose. I feel that feels so good on my spine. So let's do a few more cat-cows. And when you are ready and you feel like you have kind of loosened up your spine, moved around organically, meet me in a downward facing dog. So this may be your first down dog of the day. So pedaling out your knees, bending your knees, maybe putting your heels side to stretch out your legs. Tilting our pelvis up. Sometimes that will require bending your knees so then we can have that straight spine. Pushing the earth away with our hands and almost sectioning our fingertips to our mat so we can relieve some of the pressure off of our wrists. Now when we're finally settled into our downward facing dog, take your gaze to your hands and tiptoe to your power. And right here in this forward fold, let's hang for a second. And maybe grabbing your elbows and swaying side to side feels good too. Perhaps interlocking your fingers underneath the bottom of your skull and using that pressure and the gravity to kind of deepen into this pose, into this forward fold. Or perhaps just keeping your hands on the mat and just swaying a little side by side. And on your next inhale, let's go to a flat back. Your hands could be on your shins. Your body is going to look almost like a 7. Your gaze is down. Your spine is straight. Your core and your ribs are engaged and knitted in. And on your next exhale, fold back over. Inhale, look up, stand up, upward facing salute. Exhale, fold back over. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, place your hands and jump or step back into your chaturanga. Now, here's a place where we could do a couple modifications. If you want to lower all the way down to your belly and push up onto from your hands into a low cobra, that's a great place to be. If you're ready for your upward facing dog, we're going to have our knees lifted off of the mat, our shoulders are back, our chest is shining through. And from here, whether you're in cobra or upward facing dog, let's push back into a child's pose and let that feel as amazing as I know it does. Releasing your lower back. Your hands can be in front of you, they can be behind you. And when you're ready, meet me back into your downward facing dog. That was our sun A. I'm going to cue the next few rounds, 1 breath to 1 movement. Take out anything you don't want and does not serve you or serve your body. If you want to lay in child's pose the entire time, that is always a beautiful place to be and an honorable place to be. Otherwise, follow my guide and we will begin. So let's bend our knees, look to the front of your mat between your hands, step or hop to your power. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, stand up, look up, upward salute. Exhale, fold back over. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, hop or step into chaturanga. Upward facing dog, push through your heart, shoulders are back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, let's bend our knees, look forward, hop or step to your power. Oh my gosh. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, lift up, stand up, look up. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, hop or step back into your chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Push back down into your downward facing dog. Let's do one more round of sun A together. Bend your knees, look forward, hop or step to your power. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, lift up, look up, stand up. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, hop or step, chaturanga. Lift into your upward facing dog and push back into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. On our next inhale, lift your right leg high and strong into a 3-legged dog. We're going to round our spine, bringing our knee to try and touch our nose. And then we're going to lift it back to 3-legged dog. Exhale, twist, knee to left elbow, and lift it back to our 3-legged dog. On our next exhale, bring your right knee to right elbow. Exhale back. Inhale your knee to a low runner's lunge. We're going to drop our back knee. We're going to lift our arms up into an Anjane Asana. We're going to push your hips forward. If that does not work for you and that's not accessible for you, keeping this upright position and our arms up, shoulder lengths apart, is a beautiful place to stay. If you want some more and need a deeper stretch, moving your hips, placing them forward, lifting your arms, your gaze can go up. And on our next exhale, push back into our halfway splits. This has always been such a tricky pose for me because I always feel like I'm doing it not properly. But our knee is above our hip and our leg is nice and strong and straight, so you can point your toes or keep your toes flexed. Bending over, keeping your spine nice and straight, tenting your fingertips really helps with engagement of your core, the engagement and the stretch of your back leg. And on our next inhale, let's crawl back to the front of our mats and let's lift into a high lunge. Our heel is high and strong and straight. Our knee is bent, but we must be able to see your toes. So if you cannot see your toes, then you're too far forward. We got to pull it back. And let's take a couple breaths here, settling into this pose. And on our next inhale, let's open up into Warrior Two. Same thing with the engagement of our legs here. So we want our knee to not be too far forward or too far back. We also want to make sure and be mindful of the fact that our knees sometimes like to come forward, and that puts a lot of strain on your knees, and your knee are very expensive. We don't need to be replacing them. So, settling deep into this lunge, keeping a mindful note of where our knees are. Our back heel is on the ground at a 45-degree angle, and our arms are going to be straight, one in front, one in back. Our gaze, I always like to use a reference of having my drishti point at the tip of my middle finger and just settling into here. We're going to flip our front palm and go back into our humble warrior. And gosh, this feels so amazing. And then from here, let's windmill our arms to back down to our low lunge. Shoot our right leg back into a three-legged plank and vinyasa. Upward facing dog, push back into your downward facing dog. Let's do all of that fun stuff on the left. Let's lift our left leg high and straight and strong. Take your left knee to nose. Push back into three-legged dog. Take your left knee to right elbow. Push back into your three-legged dog. Take your left knee to left elbow and push back into downward facing dog. We're going to bring our knee in between our hands. We're going to lower our back knee. Inhale our arms up into our Anjaneyasana. And again, like I did on the opposite side, if you are having any tightness or uncomfortable feelings in your lower back or your legs, keeping this upright position and having your arms lifted up is a beautiful place to be. If you need more, pushing your hips forward, keeping your gaze lifted, your shoulders are down and back, your hands are up, shoulder length apart. And on your next inhale, let's go back down into our low lunge. And we are going to lift up into our high crescent lunge. Our back heel again is lifted. Our knee is bent. It's not over our toes. We should still be able to see our toes, and it's not too far back. Settling into this pose. And on our next inhale, let's open up into a warrior two. Let's, again, keeping our knee, mindful of our knee, that it's not too far forward or back. Really keeping it straight and strong, having our back legs be engaged. Our heel is down. Our drishti point, again, I like to use my middle finger as a reference point of where I take my gaze. Let's inhale our palm up into humble warrior. Windmill your hands down into a low lunge. Shoot your left leg back into a three-legged plank and vinyasa. And meet me back into a downward facing dog. From here, we are going to look at our hands and we're going to jump to a seated position. This can look any way you want it to. I mean, there's really honestly no graceful way to do this. So bend your knees and jump to our seats. We are going to do a couple boat poses to really get deeper into our core before we get into our Shavasana. So from here, lift your chest proudly. Your arms can be on the ground. Your legs can be on the ground. This might be your stopping point today. That's great. I have a couple more suggestions and bus stops that we can all come together. We can lift our legs, bent, stay here. Your arms can be in front, out, legs straight. I'm right here today. So we're going to hold this boat pose. We have our our chest is proud. Arms are straight, or wherever they are, on the ground or wherever they need to be. And we're going to take a few inhales and exhales together. But when we do that, we're going to come down to our low boat and exhale up. So inhale, exhale, lift up. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lower to low boat. Exhale, lift to high. And this time, hug your knees, and we're going to roll on our back playfully and lovingly. Try not to run into all my stuff that's around me. And let's land into a baby pose. So this pose is so great to release any tension out of your back. Pressing your feet down, stretching them, straightening one leg or the other, rolling around, just kind of settling in to the end of our practice and rocking back and forth. And when you're ready, bringing your knees into your chest, rolling up into a nice tight ball. And when you have given yourself the most loving and gentle and beautiful and grateful and honorable hug, and thanking your body for giving you this time to give you movement, exhale all the way back into your Shavasana. Feeling all of that fresh blood circulate through your body again. Releasing your Ujjayi breath, having your breath become less labored. Relaxing the space between your eyes. Relaxing your jaw. Relaxing your tongue, unclenching your face. Relaxing your fingers, your ribs, your core, your legs, your toes. Relaxing your brain, your mind. Bringing that intention that you dedicated your practice to the forefront. What does it feel like now? Being mindful of your breath. Shavasana. When you're ready, maybe roll your head from left to right. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Waking up your body slowly and gently. Rolling over to one side into a fetal position. And gently pushing yourself up into a seated position like we started our class. Placing one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining me in this practice, in my first teacher-led practice, and giving me grace and patience. Thank you for showing up and being perfectly you. Namaste. Thank y'all.